When people let you down, before you try to punish them with your anger, hurt, and disappointment, and try to make them feel very guilty, you must first ask yourself some very important questions to be able to go past the letdown. Because in reality, when you think you are punishing them, you are actually punishing yourself by holding pain inside of you. And if those people whom you believe have let you down are actually toxic people, this pain in you could make you become just as toxic as they are. And I'm sure you don't want that to happen to you, to become like them. Obviously, so, because you already feel resentful toward them for letting you down. So, definitely, you do not want to become like them. So, when people let you down, get real and ask yourself some questions, such as first one, did you chart out in detail all your expectations of them that they were supposed to live up to in your eyes? In other words, in your opinion. Second one, did you make sure that they were aware of these and had detailed knowledge of them? And did they understand very clearly what your expectations were? And did they agree to live up to your expectations at all times, under all conditions? And I am sure the answer to these questions is an emphatic no. Because in the first place, nobody could be detailed enough with expectations. There will always be some tiny little point that you're going to leave out, even if you try to make them as broad as possible. Most people cannot even live up to their own expectations they have of themselves. So, how can you expect others to live up to yours? Okay? And if you doubt me on this, let me challenge you to look at yourself. Look at how many times you have failed yourself. And in doing something that you wanted to do or get done or be or whatever it may be, you sit with yourself and see how much you have failed yourself, how often. So you've let your own self down. So what do you expect of others? And if you can do this, this should put this topic into the right perspective for you. You see, generally, people have these quiet expectations of others based on who they are, their own way of thinking, how they have been conditioned from upbringing to now, and not really on how the others are, the ones whom they have expectations of. So, what they tend to do is try to squeeze something that they cannot get out of others because it's just not in these people. It is like they're squeezing a lemon and expecting to get a nice, sweet apple juice flowing out of it. This is very unrealistic. You can only get out of people the nature, the qualities, and the tendencies that they have in them, that they have allowed to develop in them. And you have to remember that as much as you may find these people as being very flawed, so are you. As much as you are a work in progress, so are they. They are in this school of life just like you, still have to lots to learn. And more than likely, they are in a different grade to you. And even if they're in the same class with you, their understanding is different. And you just have to look at really school life. When you go to school, you have a classroom filled with, let's say, about at least 20 people in it, 20 students in it. And they're learning the same thing as each other. And what happens when a test comes along, a challenge comes in their way, they're given a test in class, you would find that not everybody's score is the same. You're going to find some may make 90%, 95%, others 20%. Some may fail the class. Some may be 30%, some may get 80%, 70%. And this is a reflection of their understanding and their ability to apply whatever it is they learned. So please remember all of this. So it is quite possible that they may not have the knowledge, and if they do, they don't have the wisdom, the qualities, and the nature that you have and expect of them. So you cannot get from them what you want. They may also, or they could be in a different stage in this school of life, and they may have actually gone beyond you. So they are not deliberately letting you down. It is just where they are and what they can manage. When I was younger, I had a friend who was in school with me, and he once told me, he said, Sandra, just look at all guys as being pigs. In other words, so when a prince come along, you won't get let down, right? Because you already think all guys are pigs. So when a prince comes along, it will be, wow, what a pleasant surprise. You get somebody nice. In other words, what he's saying is, we should all view each other as pigs, expecting piggy behavior from each other. So when a prince or a princess comes our way and we get beautiful, which is a rare thing, oh, we will be, wow, it will be a pleasant surprise. We can never be let down. Okay? In other words, really, give up your expectations and the grasp you have behind these, because no matter what in life, we must have a level of expectation of care and respect for each other. The holding on, the graspiness is the problem. At some point in our lives, we'll all be let down, whether it's by our parents, our siblings, friends, religion, spouse, government, banks, whatever. So when you let go of that graspiness, you will not get destroyed within. You wouldn't get broken down. Now, I want to bring this little piece of information in. I do not condone where parents have enabled abuse of their children, letting them down. You see, in my opinion, any form of abuse is not good, whether it's physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional using words to make joke about somebody who has already has a little inferiority complex, and you're making a big joke out of it. That's not being very sensitive. That's abuse, in my opinion. Or whether it's a deliberate words you're using to hurt the person. All abuse do not have a good result. Okay, so I do not condone where parents enable children being abused and letting them down in this way. But I must say that even if this were to happen, and this is meant with goodness, good intention, all the principles of understanding that I've outlined here remain universally true to these children. As an aid to be able to go past the effects of being let down by the people, their parents, who they were supposed to trust. In the scriptures teach us to trust in God, not in man or mankind. When I use man here, it really means mankind. Man will always let us down, right? Man will pull us down. But your trust in a greater intelligence and a higher power will pull us up. In Proverbs 3:13 of the Holy Bible, it says, "Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding." It goes on in Proverbs 4:7 to say, "With all thy getting, get understanding." In other words, so you don't get let down. And prior to it, it said, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom." And how do you get wisdom? Well, first of all, by getting the knowledge, understanding that knowledge, and getting the experience to apply it. And when you apply it, you gain the wisdom through the experience of it. So, when people let you down, what should you do? Should you discard them? You must determine whether these people are worth the fight, because you will have to put in time, effort, energy, and even resources. What are they worth to you, and what are you worth to them? Because it's a two-way street. If you fight to keep them, make sure you ask yourself the question, will they help elevate you or will they keep pulling you down? And if there is no worth or value, then let them go. Let go. Forget about the letdown and move on. Let life flow and blossom so you can enjoy your life. So often we get stuck in resentment, in our pain, our disappointment. We get stuck in bitterness because people cannot be who we want them to be and do things how we want them to do when and how we want them. We cannot get what we want out of them, and so we feel let down. And basically, it is only because these people do not have it in them. Understand this point very deeply and let this knowledge sink deep into your buddhi or intellect, into your consciousness. And then you're going to be in a position to be able to let go of being let down. And when you let go of being let down, what happens? You start to experience freedom within. You've become more joyful. You're not in that disappointed state anymore. You see, many people tend to hold on, to cherish their bitterness and pain without realizing it. They're doing this unconsciously because unconsciously they're getting a payoff. You just examine it. They get to blame others for their lack of happiness, and they actually absolve themselves of the responsibility for their life and their state of being. So you've gained some wonderful understanding as to why people let you down. So what do you do when they actually let you down? The first thing I'm going to recommend is to be for you. In my book, Insights a Life Companion, there's actually a chapter in here called Be For You and other chapters that can help you on this topic. So it's available on Amazon, so feel free. You can head over to Amazon and get a copy. In that chapter, it's about taking responsibility. When you are being for you, it is about taking the responsibility for you. So nobody can let you down. Do not pass the buck on to others to take responsibility for you. However, people have failed you, make sure you do not fail yourself, whether it's with regard to money, trust, job, protection, whatever it is. You be for you. Be interested in your own well-being. Do not depend too heavily on others for that, and yet without willfully hurting them, because that's not the intention. You are not supposed to hurt people in the process of being for you. Although it could happen, but it must never be your intention, because it will all be based on their perspective. Make sure you are important to you, because if you think you're important to somebody else, I can guarantee you could easily and quickly become very important to them. You just have to look at parents and children relationship. Children, their parents were the most important thing to them when they were young. And then they grow up, they go out on their own, they may get married and have their own family unit, or they may just have their own lives doing whatever. And that unit becomes the most important thing to your children. And as parents, you are not as important anymore. Now, I'm telling you this, but it does not mean I want you to withdraw from everybody. Otherwise, what will happen? You'd become dull, unpleasant, miserable. I don't want you to do that. I just want you to become wise about you. In that chapter, Be For You, in my book, it also says that if you feel nobody is for you, then you are not for you. Because if you are for you, you could never feel that nobody is there for you. And if you are not for you, then I say do not have the unrealistic expectation of others to be there for you. You make your world bright. You make the effort to improve your life. Do what is necessary to have a better state of being. You see, being for you is really about putting you first, because life is about you. It is your experience. And this does not mean putting you first mean becoming selfish. Okay? When you put yourself first by being for you, you can become a much more elevated being. You will have a much more elevated state of being. You won't become disappointed and bitter. And when you're in that elevated state of being, then you're in a better position to have much better relationships. The second thing I would say, so that you don't, if you're already let down, feel let down, then I say go and forgive those people, because now you have better understanding. Okay, and I'm not going to get into the depths of forgiveness. I believe there is a video on forgiveness. I'll put a link below, or either it's going to be at the end screen. When people let you down, let me tell you this. Life is actually positioning you to become detached, which is a quality to spiritual maturity. So anytime people let you down, stop for a moment and say, oh boy, life is getting me in a position now to become spiritually mature. So this is my opportunity not to be bitter and miserable. Okay? It is teaching you detachment. And detachment does not mean physical detachment. It means the inner detachment. And detachment doesn't mean miserable and bitter. It means caring still for people. It doesn't mean you don't care. Okay? If you cannot detach on your own, life often will allow these type of circumstances and experiences to come your way so that you can be let down, just to push you into that state of detachment. You see, anything that is preceded by the word my will inevitably let you down in some way, whether deliberately or not. My parents, my siblings, my children, my friend, my spouse, my job, my money, my house, my car, and yes, these can let you down, because you know what? One morning, on a snowy day, you have to get to work or go to some important appointment, and your car does not want to start. Guess what? Your car lets you down. You get disappointed. You get miserable. Even your guru, your pastor, your teacher can let you down. Anything preceded by my. Being let down facilitates the spiritual quality of detachment, which is infused with divine love, not misery and bitterness. Because in true detachment, you do not have ill feelings toward those who have let you down. And therefore, you can be there for them if you're in a position to do so. And this is what allows your spiritual expansion through inner freedom. And this spiritual maturity takes you a notch up.